Hi, I'm Bran, and I love The Way Home.
I'm Ryan. I like The Way Home.
I'm Dan, and I despise The Way Home, and this is the Deck the Hallmark podcast.
Deck the Hallmark, it's his podcast.
Brandon and friends host this podcast. We hope you like this jolly podcast.
There he is.
Oh, boy.
There he is.
Oh.
Hey, it's Rye Guy.
What's up, party animal?
Hi. Hi, you two crazy kids.
You
Hello.
are. You're crazy.
How you doing, man?
I'm doing well. Can you guys help? No. It's. I don't think it's a bad thing. Can you help settle a debate for me?
I
Sure.
would love nothing more.
So you two know, as does the listening and viewing audience, if you're on Philo, which I recommend.
Philo.tv/DTH. We all recommend it.
Yeah, that a goal for this year was for me to spend less on
man.
my.
It's January 23rd already.
No. I listen. No matter where you land on this, I believe I've done it so far this calendar year.
Yeah. No matter where you land.
No matter.
What you're saying is
have
up
you
to,
spent any?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So there are
yes.
people
But-
that might say that's
no,
still
but
too
you
much.
spent less. What you're saying is that the amount that you spent last year through the first 3 weeks of the year is more than what you spent this year.
Listen, we've never given facts and figures on this show, but I think the audience can surmise that I spend, more than a little bit of a chunk of change on this stuff behind me, et cetera, right?
Yeah.
So, but I didn't want to put a number on it, but I said I'm going to spend a lot less.
Yeah.
So
This is a good safety net there to say I'm not going to put a number on it.
So I'll just lay it out like this, and then I want your two thoughts on it. I believe I have spent $10 on toys
All year?
So far.
That's big.
Now
That's not
big.
bad for an adult.
Now someone else
Without
in my
kids.
household, not Luna 1.0, believes that I have spent, which I still think is a very respectable number, $65 on toys this calendar year.
Where's the discrepancy?
Where do you two fall on me using my credit card cash back to buy toys so far?
That's
in the
interesting.
beginning
I
of the year?
didn't even take 2 seconds. That does count as money, Ryan.
I look at it as a gift card of sorts.
No. Any credit card points is still, you're using it to buy something. Now, are you using it to buy something you would not have bought before? We have a little bit of the fallacy of the predetermined outcome here. I think the problem is
there
that
he is. All right.
that you now had that money. It was cash back. That's as good as money.
Ryan, how about you?
I think it comes as no surprise that I think it's.
Of course you think it's fair.
I am with you on this one, Ryan.
Well-
It's like it is technically, sure, it's technically money.
Yeah,
sure.
okay. That's all I needed.
Technically.
Yeah,
But
okay.
it's money that you didn't have and weren't planning on. It's like when you find
But
$10
let me
in your
ask-
pocket
that's a
and you're
great-
like, all right,
That's
great.
a great point, Brand. Rye Guy. If somebody
Yes.
came up to you and slipped you a Jackson, a $20 bill, and then you spent that on eBay toys, would you consider that spending more than $10 this year?
Sure, but I think that gets to real minutia,
then
Dan.
you did.
But Dan, that's like, I mean, this whatever it was from this cashback was a number in the sky, right? Like, I mean, it's a gift for my hard work for the credit card company, really throughout
But it's still money. Like every year, people give me a hard time around the office and elsewhere for taking my family on what seems to be extravagant vacations. And every year in March, I take my family usually out of the country on vacation, all on credit card points. And it is like went to London, lodging and flight, all credit card points. This year we're going to the Dominican Republic, credit card points. If my kids, when they're older, go, we went on a vacation like this every year, Dad didn't really pay for it, I would be like, hold on a second. Yes, I did. Yes, I did pay for it.
That is fair. Now, but by the letter of the law, I think this is open and shut, ironclad. Only $10 has come out of my bank account on toys this calendar. Brand, right?
But also
have
what
spent
you have
60
said.
you've spent
what he
$65.
said though is that he's going to spend less.
You spent.
I think I've done it
$65.
no matter what.
I think you definitely have.
Yeah,
but,
yeah. Congrats on only spending $65. Alyssa is right.
I think it's 10.
I think
It isn't 10.
I'm with you. I think spending if you're going to try to spend less, that is money from your account. And those are points.
No, you see, from your account is the part that is just absurd. You didn't say I'm going to spend less from my account. You said I'm going to spend less on eBay toys.
Spend less money.
That's what he said.
And if you were to look at my number in the bank on January 1st,
but my thing is,
today,
it's like when I coach basketball, there's another bingo card for Dan over there if you're playing. When I coach basketball at the awards banquet in March, I would always get a pretty nice cash gift from the parents. And my wife always knew that I was just buying shoes with that money. She knew that it was never going to hit the bank account, and I was going to buy shoes with it. That's what I was going to do. I was going to buy a couple pairs of Nikes or maybe one really nice pair of Nike. Like, that's what was going to happen. But I still spent the money, Ryan. Just because it didn't go in my bank account doesn't mean if this is about an addiction. This is not about financial planning. This is about an addiction.
Tell them about your arm, Dan.
But
your arm.
But Dan, if they had as a gift,
if
they had as a gift given you a gift card, then you wouldn't. It's the same thing.
Some of the cash bonus is sometimes in a Visa gift card, and that still counts as money, Ryan.
I don't think it does.
No, that's where you're wrong. That's where you're wrong.
Listen, you're just basically an addict that's getting your fill without using your own money.
That's right.
No,
that's what you are.
This and the Vermont Christmas movie, you're way off on, man.
That would be like me going, I'm doing one Diet Coke a day, which is what I'm doing right now. One Diet Coke a day max. That's what I'm doing. It's a big step for me. I was at 10 a week last year. Sometimes I have 2. I'm down to one Diet Coke a day.
Describe what you mean by one.
One Diet Coke a day means any one sit. So if I go to a restaurant, I can have as many refills as I want at that restaurant.
So that's like,
that's fine.
Wait a second.
Wait a minute. But wait a minute.
You're yelling at me here on national radio?
You wake up at 9 a.m. you start drinking.
No, wait a minute. I said before I started this, those were the rules. I said before I started, if I sit down for a meal while I'm eating that meal, that's what matters. Now, I can't sit at a restaurant all day.
You could.
I can't.
By the rules.
No, there's no restaurant open all day that I could just sit there and drink
I said my cashback points were part of the rules, Dan. I forgot to mention that up front.
No, the illustration for you is that if I said one Diet Coke a day, and then every day my buddy Bran or my buddy Aaron brought me a fountain Diet Coke, and I went, this isn't on me. This is a bonus Diet Coke. That's
I think
fraudulent.
You're literally giving yourself 7 bonus Diet Cokes once a week at Spinks. I
go once. And typically, to be fair, like the only time that refill thing comes into play really is like maybe once or twice a week. Normally, it's one Diet Coke from QT. Now,
let's go to tape on the refill. Let's go to the tape on that. I don't know.
The thing is I was honest about that from the get-go. If you say you want to spend less and you're using your credit card points, that counts.
Less.
I'm spending
that
less.
counts.
I'm spending
it's open
less.
And shut. That counts.
Aaron, would you like to weigh in on this?
Aaron, weigh in.
I'm so sorry, Ryan and Brant. I've seen Dan drink a Coke from the QT or Spinks, and when we go to a restaurant, the refills may be, depending on the quality of the waitress and her speed of noticing Dan's drink is empty.
She gets it.
Dan is maybe drinking a QT-sized drink at lunch.
The QT's a 52-ounce Diet Coke, so I'm getting one giant drink a day. Now, I used to be drinking like
Aaron,
4 or 5 of those.
I don't care about this. I was just being silly. Where do you stand on this? on Ryan?
$10
on
for 65,
on the
Aaron,
war that really
land?
matters here.
He has spent $65. This is crazy.
He spent $10.
Yeah, well, I think the cashback is like bonus money. That's free money.
It is free money.
Gift card, if you will. Yeah.
He has spent $65.
That's right.
You've spent
Both
$10, but you spent the equivalent of 65.
Yeah, if anything, what a great deal. What a great
when we
deal.
send you the little bit amount of money we send you, Ryan, I'm going to start.
I always appreciate.
I'm going to send you Visa gift cards just to prove a point, which is that is still money.
Yeah,
that would actually help him out a lot. You'd actually be helping him out a lot.
Yeah.
He's like, I can't get in trouble for this. They're gift cards.
Yeah, actually, I mean, if we want to talk about that offline, that might
maybe
be a
you
win
send
for
them to
everybody.
me via points.
Yeah.
I don't know how you do that, but that'd be great.
Dude, I'm sorry you spent $65. If the point is to spend less,
Don't
you're
apologize.
Not, okay.
Do we get to know what he spent the money?
Yeah,
what'd
you get?
I bought some. I'm on a big DC Comics kick, so I bought a Nightwing toy. I bought a couple of Funko Pops from the DC universe. They're cool.
Did you have you heard about our Jingle All the Way?
You do such a cute voice when you're describing your toys. It's kind of like I don't know if I want to be sharing this type of voice, so I'm just gonna kind of do one of these numbers.
I'm not ashamed.
He
I
knows
mean, like
he's
this
throwing
is at this
softballs
point.
to me. he knows it.
Yeah, it's not that you're ashamed; it's you're afraid about what's happening.
right.
What's happening next?
Have you heard about the Funko Pop Jingle All the Way toys that Brandon and I received?
yeah.
Brandon and me received. Have you?
Oh, I have multiple Myrons. Yeah.
They down at South Carolina Public Radio, we do a little show called Who What When on Saturday
Who What
mornings.
When.
And
Love
our
it.
Producer and executive producer, we have an argument about Jingle All the Way, but I do love Sinbad and hate Jingle All the Way, and so they got us one Howard and one Myron from Jingle All the Way, which was
Love 'em.
very sweet gift.
Very sweet.
They're in the
Great
trunk of the car.
pops.
We got to bring them in.
Let's talk Way Home, shall we? Way Home, season 3, episode 4. It's a very long title. I'll have to say I love you in a song, which is probably
It's gotta
a
be
song.
from
It's
something
probably
I
Oh,
a
that was
song.
like a chapter book. Am I
Probably
right?
a song title. What is it? Is it a Panic at the Disco title? Is it
It's
Fall
a
Out
song
Boy?
by
They write this?
Jim Croce,
Jim Croce.
who did apparently write other songs aside from the guy in town you shouldn't mess with, but you do mess with him and end up being that guy.
That's right. That's right.
Jim Croce. Ba-da-da-da-da-da-da-da.
Jim in the Croce. Yeah. Here we go. January 24th, 2025.
Jim
a little something
Croce,
like
and
this.
haven't you ever heard of?
Closing the Croce door. Colton and Jacob are camping in a
Hey,
tent.
close the Croce door. Croce door's open again. God dog it. Close the Croce door.
God dog it. God. So you
God,
still say
God. I said God dog it.
Good. I was like,
God
this,
dog it.
this guy still says God.
The D
Then
and
he
dog
says
it
dog
says
it.
God dog it.
God dog it.
Close the Croce door.
He tells
Gets higher every time too.
Colton and Jacob are Colton and Jacob are camping in a tent. He tells Jacob that nothing can hurt him out here. Daylight comes.
And we want to go home.
Daylight comes. And well, he did want to go home. He did want to go home.
No.
He runs home. Cut to adult Jacob opening the door and walking in and asking for his dad. His scary dude Cyrus from the 1800s is there, and he's like, "They're with me now." And then it turns out it's a dream. It was only just a dream, and I'm dreaming about Cyrus, dreaming about you.
Going to the pond. What you gonna do?
Gonna jump in.
1800s.
We could
Could've been
work
better.
on it.
We'll get there.
Write that down. I don't know what we're gonna do with that, but write it down.
Yeah.
Could be a thing.
A Nelly, Only Just a Dream parody music video.
For the way
of
home.
We're like the Holderness family.
Yes, we're gonna go viral. I said we were gonna go. I got a little nervous there. By the way, you remember TikTok was banned for 12 hours?
Yeah.
I
So
got
cool.
nervous because I was like, that was my whole resolution. My whole resolution,
Was
if you
TikTok
remember, was
viral.
to go
That's right.
TikTok viral. There was 12 hours there where that dream was out.
Really sweating it out.
14,
Anyway,
I was in the
That
pond and now
song's
it's like I'm
14
in the
years
rain.
old?
No,
No, 14 hours.
okay, good.
you weren't correctly timing the TikTok ban.
Sorry, thank you.
Yeah.
So where was I at? Anyway, cut to Elliot and
Only
Kat. They're
just a
waking up
dream.
together. Elliot jumps on her, and I'm like, uh-oh. And then
I'm like, uh-oh.
and then they remember that it's Hallmark. They can't
You can't do that.
do that here. So he's like, I gotta get ready to
For
do
work.
like we're gonna do school. I guess it's back in session. He hasn't taught in literal
No.
years,
No,
but
no.
it's never stopped him before. Those lovebirds are just so great. Kat tells Alice that they're gonna go shopping today to get ready for the school year. Alice is like, I thought that when you said shopping, it was code for time travel, and Kat's like, I mean, it wasn't, but
It can be.
it can be. So off they go, back to the 70s. Alice sees Evelyn looking at the pond, practicing some sort of monologue. She's excited to see Alice and tells her that she'd like to take her to
You got it?
Lingermore.
Stay with it. Stay with it.
It's awesome. It's a big, big house. There's lots of room there. Speaking of Lingermore, in present day, Jacob gets a call from that guy. You remember that guy that he got in a big argument
Yeah.
with, the book
Yeah.
thing?
Yeah, the guy.
The guy.
Roy.
Roy.
Who invites
You mean
him
Jacob?
who invites him to the place to talk. Apparently he wants Jacob to help him make his wine taste better, but Jacob is too busy looking at the fireplace because above it there's a painting of Cyrus. Oh man, this guy's just following him everywhere. Back in the 70s, Evelyn shows Alice the same painting, and then they look out and they see Colton and Dell flirting by the pool. He's pumped when she agrees to go on a date with her. Jacob, in present day, is having a panic attack and keeps thinking about Cyrus and how cruel he was to him. And he decides that he can't do this wine thing. He just doesn't want to be around even the memory of Cyrus. Kat meets up with the hippie guy. Remember the hippie guy?
Yeah.
Apparently the
Doyle,
hippie guy,
Coyle, whatever his name is.
the hippie
He's
guy
old.
is also does archives.
Oh, awesome.
He loves
He
archives.
loves the archives.
We love archives.
And she's talking about how the whole the lady and the filling. Do you know
Tramp?
anything about filling the pond? And he's like, do I know anything about filling the pond? I've got audio. Cue that clip, Trace. And he cues up the clip, and you hear little Evelyn talking about the pond and how magical it is. And then you hear her tell Colt that he tried it too, or something like that. And Kat takes that to mean that Colton can't time travel. And so this is great. This is great news, I guess, for her. She's very excited. She goes to run back and tell everybody. Alice and Evelyn go to spy on Colton. Colton and Dell's dates on the boat. They go on a boat, and then they come back, and she's like, I don't like boats. You knew that. And so instead, he sings her ABBA, because that's one thing that she does like.
That's right. Loves ABBA.
Loving her. Waterloo. That
Dancing
doesn't like
Queen.
boats, but does like Waterloo.
You rascal.
So they kiss, and that makes Evelyn very sad, and she cries. And Alice is like, "Oh, this is why I'm here, to comfort your sad sack." Back to present day. Dell sees
Shout out
Jacob's.
to Evelyn for being the worst for having emotions.
That's exactly right. Back in present day, Dell sees Jacob's scars. His the scars of your beautiful what is it? Yeah, that's right. And she's like, "Oh, what's that about?" And he's like, "Cyrus did it." And so they talk about that. And she is like, "I hear what you're saying about him. You should take the job where you're faced with his picture every single day." And he's like, "I don't know." Kat and Elliot are making out hard to closing time. And I mean, who hasn't? When she notices her dad's sweater is sitting there. And she's like, "Where did this sweater come from?" And he's like, "I found it by the pond that night that Alice got pushed into the pond. I didn't know who it belonged to. I brought it back, and I've kind of forgotten about it." So she is like, "Oh my gosh, what does this mean?" Takes it to her mom and is like, "Mom, are you sure that he's never told you that he could time travel?" And she's like, "I promise I didn't know, and we're not talking about it anymore." She goes upstairs and has a convo with Ghost Colton, who is there a good bit in this one. And earlier in the episode, Ghost Colton was like, "Hey, you have to tell the family," or something like that,
Yeah.
doing this whole weird cryptid thing. And so I'm like, "Oh, great, it's gonna come out."
No.
She's gonna, and in this moment, she tells Ghost Colton, "If you really could time travel, why wouldn't you have told me?"
Mm-hmm.
So I guess there goes that. I don't know. There's that stuff. But as that's happening, Jacob pushes a note under the door, and basically is a note about letting go of the past. So I guess he's going to take the gig, and that's nice. The episode ends with him seeing a vision of Cyrus. He closes his eyes and he says, "This isn't real," and it goes away like the furnace in Home Alone. And that, my friends, was The Way Home, Season 3, Episode 4. I'll have to say I love you in a song.
Jim Croce.
Open the daggum door. We're going to take a quick
Shut
break.
that Croce door.
We're going to come
God
back.
dog it.
We're going to come back. We're going to break this episode down. Here
Toss
on
it. Take the hallmark.
Nice. Take the day off. Welcome back, everybody. We're talking about episode 4 of the 3rd season of The Way Home. Let's break it down. Let's share our thoughts on it. Let's hot take it. Hot take. Where we share exactly how we felt about this episode. We do not hold back. And I will start with you, Rye Guy. Ryan, what'd you think about it? Episode 4.
Well, on the right shortly before we recorded this episode, actually, Brian, you'll be aware of this. TV Scotty sent me a very nice text message and
He's
said I was
thoughtful
doing
like that.
said I was doing a good job on the show. So I said, you know what? I have a ride home before we record this. Let me listen back to the episode and see how good I did. Which, I thought
How
I
was
was I thought I was 7 out of 10 at best last week, but neither here nor there.
Buy
Yeah.
yourself another thing from eBay.
How is Bran? How's
Well,
Bran?
well, I mean, listen, I'm not here to tell
Out of
secrets
10,
out of
how's
school.
Bran?
I'm not here to tell secrets out of school. Like,
Okay, all right,
but,
all right,
yeah, I mean,
fair.
but I thought you both were delightful as
Silence
always.
says a lot there.
Yeah. I thought you guys do a really good job. You're 17 here.
You refusing to give us a number
is unbelievable. It's unbelievable.
I think we were 10s.
No, I think we were 10s too. I remember that episode well. We recorded it so.
Well, it was last week.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, it was.
I know exactly what happened in that episode.
That's right.
Yeah, we're doing them in order. And it was
Yeah.
last week.
Right before the Duckies, we recorded them.
Yeah, it was right before. And so I listen, regardless of my performance, it really refreshed me on what we talked about last week. And Bran, you highlighted this in the recap just now, which was a 10 out of 10, just like you as a person and a podcast host.
Nice.
Oh,
interesting.
Yeah.
Good save.
Yeah. And we talked for the majority of last week's episode about how Dell probably knows about this pond.
Here we go.
And wow, what does that mean if Dell knows about this pond?
Well,
we created a lot of issues that it would cause, but we also talked about how that would be really interesting, even if it didn't make a ton of sense.
Yep.
Well, that's dead. That's
Yep.
kibosh. That's gone.
See ya.
Yeah. And if you were to listen back to a lot of what we've done over these last couple of years, that theme has come up a lot.
Yeah, it
Does
has.
Dell know about this one? There have been several times that this show has, whether it's made sense or not, or at least made sense or not to our perceived notions of what we think the rules are of this show. There have been a lot of times and a lot of things that have happened that we go, oh, this could be a big thread. And then with a passing line, mere seconds of the show, for example, Jacob being lost to time, and this, so I was actually higher on this episode until TV Scotty ruined it by saying that I'm doing a good job, because it really
Made you go
I
back
don't
and
give
see
out
it.
compliments,
That's right.
everyone.
Yeah. Yeah. Listen, I have a bunch of other notes. I like Alice with 70s Evelyn. That's like a cool time travel idea that a time travel show should be doing, putting her in a tough spot. And I will say I'm not sure how invested I was in Kat and Elliot during the will they, won't they phase, but I know I'm not invested during the they have phase.
Yeah.
But I also will say that anything related to the 1800s, anything, even just this weird guy ghost being in present day, but is from the 1800s.
Yeah, they flash back to the 1800s too.
Yeah, I
Yes.
immediately check out. So, but with that said, I didn't think the episode was bad. I still really enjoy what's happening in the 70s and present day. Another hot take for the hot take. I really just think present day usually has the most interesting stuff going on. Might be a bit of a problem for the time travel show. Yeah, sure.
The general idea of program.
But it sounds like I'm harsher on this than I am. But in the ranking of things that were a big miss, having us think for 3 seasons that maybe Dell knew or didn't know, and then it's just gone in about 5 seconds in the middle of the episode. Not great, Bran.
Yeah, it's an interesting episode because I was personally fine with the notion that Dell knew, and I know, Dan, you were not on that.
But
side,
we all thought it was coming.
But we all thought that it was coming
For
really
sure.
soon. So now it's not, which I guess is good for the show in theory. But the thing that's intriguing is the conversation that happened earlier, where she's having this conversation with Ghost Colt, and he's basically just like, you have to tell him. And so I personally feel like it's obvious that has to be something.
No, it's not a secret. You misunderstood that. She has an envelope that says, I know who you are, and soon everyone else will. And Colton says, you have to tell them.
Just about the envelope.
He's talking about, you need to tell him about the envelope. There's no secret there, Bran.
Maybe there is.
There isn't. He's talking about, because they continue to talk about it. And I know that really, I saw that
No,
hurt
but it
you.
can be both.
It
can
isn't.
be. I know about your family. My whole thing.
I know
is,
about your MS.
I know about your MS. My whole thing is I think that there's something going on about who is actually like.
But in that scene, he's talking about the envelope.
But could be talking about both things.
So you're saying he's talking about the envelope.
I know
but
about,
he's also talking about something else.
No, the statement, I know about your family. If what the person means by that, maybe is time travel, or maybe is I know that you're not Kat's mom, or something like that. You have to tell the family could be talking about both.
So you don't think it's the note is saying, I know that your family time travels and I'm going to tell everybody. You don't think it's that. And then he goes, and she has this thing she's worried about. And then he says, Kat or Dell, you have to tell them. And she doesn't want to tell them. You think there's something more to it than that?
I do.
Really?
Yes, I do. I think that there's
Boy,
definitely.
they have given me no inclination that there's anything more than that.
Me neither.
I think that there's more to it. I think that there's something going on there. But that's just me. But also, I'm like my biggest hurdle with the 70s And like as much as I enjoy Alice with Evelyn, it's just like I barely remember Evelyn, and so it's hard
no
for
idea who
me to
she
be
is.
like, man, I'm really like it's so excited to find out about Evelyn. And so like I think like most people that's just watching the show, I like it takes me sometimes with Evelyn. I'm just like, I don't know, like, why am I really like, what is this character? I felt like I barely got to know her. I think in season 1 is when she was around.
Yeah.
So it's tough. That's the one thing that's like, I don't know about this. I'm tickling some theories about the show in general that I'm not willing to come out with
Tickle
yet.
those theories, Brandon.
But
just tickle those
I
theories.
think that the show is setting itself
You know,
up.
you do a podcast about it. Now's if there's any time to tickle a theory aloud, now is it.
I need one more week to flesh this one out.
You're not. You're
Tickle Me
ready to,
Theory
you're
is
not ready
coming to
publicly
a
tickle
toy
yet.
store near you this Christmas.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm not ready to tickle this theory quite yet.
Okay, it's not
Um,
tickleable yet.
But
No.
I tickled it your way while we were watching it, and you kind of swept it under the rug. But I just think there's.
I don't even remember it. Can you give
Exactly
me a
right.
hint?
No.
Can you write
involves
it down?
it involves the hippie guy.
I still don't remember it.
Yeah, come on, you weren't even listening.
Wow,
I'm
Brand
just-
tickling you wasn't memorable at all, Dan.
Wasn't. Clearly, he's done it so many times.
Yeah, I tickle Dan every day. But this episode was a bit of a letdown.
Oh
The-
yeah. That's a wild one.
It's a wild one.
That's a wild
it's
one.
a wild
Hey,
one.
I heard you were a wild one.
Yeah, there you go.
It's basic. But the
Close
general
that crouchy door.
the general idea is I believe that the hippie character is somebody that we already know, but that's neither here nor there.
You tickled a little bit.
I
That's a
tickled
little
a little
ribbing, if nothing else.
So this is what I will say. The thing like I was fine with this episode as a whole. I just am really struggling with this Jacob character and all of the little flashes to Cyrus and being haunted by his past. Just I really don't care about it. So that's tough because that was probably like 25-30% of the episode was just him looking at
But it was
Cyrus,
enough
the ghost of
1800s
Cyrus.
to get under your skin.
Yeah, it's enough to bum me out.
Yeah.
And so overall, good episode. Definitely setting some things up that I think could be really interesting as long as we don't have to spend any more time with Jacob, which we are. And so that's tough. Dan?
Oh, you hated it.
This episode's terrible.
No.
This is a terrible episode of television. It is the worst of the season.
Boy.
It's worse than many from last season.
Oh, whoa,
I don't know.
whoa.
Come on.
This
Come on,
episode
cowboy.
has closing
Come
time
on,
in it.
cowboy.
This
It
episode
has-
has closing
It does.
time in it.
It does. It has
It
closing
gets the
time.
closing
in it.
time bump.
It has more 1800s in it than some of the episodes from last year.
But give it the closing time bump.
With the closing time bump, it still sucks.
Oh.
First of
Say
all,
so.
what you said about Elliot and Kat is so spot on, and I don't know what it is, but like them together is just bleh. Like I don't know, like it doesn't like
They don't have
it's-
any chemistry.
Oh, I just
It's-
remembered one more theory that I am willing to tickle.
Go
but
ahead,
I'll
tickle it. No.
you
I
go.
made hot take. You go ahead.
No,
Closing time bump. Go for it.
I wanted to say it so that you would remind me after you're done.
Okay, I don't care.
No,
Do it
you
now. Okay. The Kat and Elliot
Ellie's
thing.
still a villain.
That would be great.
No.
There's no way, but that would be great.
There's something going on there. The jacket.
Nah,
The
I-
jacket?
here's what I think.
jacket. What if
After
he's like
after listening to you talk this week, it is very clear that classic, hopeful, optimistic Brand has not only entered the chat, but has tried to take over the chat. You are wishing upon wishes, hoping against hope that this show is going to do things fun, mysterious, interesting, and shocking. And I've got news for you. We are closer to an amnesia twist than the things you're talking about. I honestly believe there is a chance that this show will give Dell some sort of weird amnesia. And that makes me sick to my
I would
stomach.
love it.
That makes me sick to my stomach. That's terrible television.
Yeah, but what if it has the closing time bump?
Yeah, with the closing time bump, it's still one of the worst things I've ever seen. Listen, this episode tells us that Dell didn't know about the pond. With one line that gives it the gravitas of nothing. With one line, as Ryan already mentioned, just writes it off. Elliot and Kat, weird stuff. 1800s, they're back, baby. We didn't actually go to 1800s, but we got flashbacks and we got a character in present day. And I don't want to make Brand take a polygraph, but I would wager he would say that a flashback of the 1800s is worse than traveling back to the 1800s.
Oh, that's interesting. I don't even know what I would say. to that.
It's worse. It's terrible. And then We don't have a clue what we're doing in the 1970s. Nobody cares. Evelyn's a cool character, and we just don't care. Jacob is an absolute mess. This thing is spread out so thin, and this episode was just supposed to spin wheels and write off major plot points with like the stroke of a pen on under half a page. It was a brutal episode of television. It was all my worst fears coming true at one time. I hope that they get back on track next episode. But as it stands, this is as bad as it's been in a long time. And I hate that. I hate it for all of us. And you guys just weren't willing to say it. And that's fine. It's fine. If you want to be hopeful or you want to be kind, there's nothing wrong with being hopeful and kind. This was a bad episode of television. And it just was. It was not good.
I thought I was pretty critical, no?
You did it. Yeah, you came around. You said I didn't have much of a problem with it until I listened to myself. So I don't know. I guess that was critical of you.
I just think if you
TV Scotty thought I did a great job last week and today.
TV Scotty's a
this
great
is-
encourager.
This
He's
is all.
great.
This is all I'm going to say about it. If you are with your girlfriend and she gets a mysterious call from her daughter, where it sounds like she fell or got pushed into pond.
Yeah.
She goes, you go out after her and you find a jacket by the pond. And then you do nothing with
You
it.
do nothing with it.
That is
You do-
mysterious. And I don't know if it is mischievous. I don't know if it's malicious.
Nefarious?
Nefarious even.
Yeah.
I don't know what type of it is.
Yes, it is.
But
it's one of those us's.
I think it's one of the us's. I think there's something that maybe he's working with Colt. I don't know. I don't know what it is. I don't know what it is.
If Dell,
But that's shady
you would,
doings.
You would now admit if Dell knows about the pond at this point, it's terrible.
If
TV.
it's amnesia, I don't have any problem with it.
Of course you don't.
I love amnesia.
But
In
it's
shows.
I
right.
love amnesia.
All right. Okay. Well,
shows.
we can fix that in post. But Rye Guy,
Sure
if
we won't.
she's got amnesia, that's a serious issue, right?
Yeah, well, I would say there is a difference between amnesia and the theory that I do believe is somewhat circulated that she has time traveled so many thousands of times that her brains are scrambled.
It's a scrambled.
And they weren't
Yeah.
scrambled early
It's
in
the
the
scrambled
year.
egg theory.
They just-
Well, I
Yeah.
think that's the thing with eggs. So you
Oh my God.
sit with me here.
This
So
is
if you like
ridiculous.
put some eggs in it, and and it's good, and then
some
stuff
eggs
starts to happen.
in it.
Some movement starts
Amen.
happening, and then next thing you know, you're an omelet.
Here's
And
the thing.
Isn't the Lord like
Guys-
it? Won't he do it?
Amen. Here's the thing is you can spend the better part of your day trying to come up with reasons why this makes sense, or you can just relent and go, you know what? It's just not good. It's just not good. And you know what? It's pop culture. You can love things that turn bad. Fourth season of Community, one of my favorite shows ever. Terrible. One of those.
Well, there was a gas leak, Dan.
one
There
of
was a
those-
gas
One
leak.
of those last seasons of Scrubs, unwatchable. I adore Scrubs. Eighth season of How I Met Your Mother. Like, guys, it happens. It happens.
Tanner's playtime.
Just be honest with yourself and what you're seeing, and go, this is not working right now. It's
I'm no
fine.
Superman. Yeah.
Yeah. I can't stand.
It's time for all the feels. We're going to talk about feels. Right?
Well, Brad, I didn't have an abundance, but there's really at the beginning of the episode. Listen, we're a bit critical here from time to time, but there's a really cool overhead shot where it's like through the ceiling.
He's got an overhead
Oh,
shot.
no, it's cinematography.
Oh, no.
It's cinematography.
Oh, no.
It's a cinematography.
And
feels.
there's Jacob in bed, and then they keep going through the ceiling, and then there's Dell in
what
bed,
you're
and then
talking about.
there's
I clocked
Kat
that
and
too.
Elliot being all gross and stuff.
It
and
does. It feels gross. What
I
they're doing.
thought that, if we were recording this on the day where the Oscar noms came out, I would say that was some real good mise en scène. And yeah, there's a lot.
Mise
Yeah,
en
listen, man, I
scène.
can Alonzo Duralde it when need be,
Brand,
Yeah,
for
so-
all the money in the world. Actually, no, you may know what mise en scène means.
Real nice shots.
No, but I mean, it does have something to do with creating a time and place in a movie. It's basically what it is.
Good vibes. Good vibes overall.
Yeah.
Listen, there's a chance that this show was meant for Hallmark Plus because of how saucy. We have a straddle in bed. We have a pickup put on counter, knock milk over, big kiss scene. This is Hallmark Plus stuff. And I don't know what if the network's fully comfortable with what's happening here. They were bullied into putting it on the network, and they're like, "What are we gonna do?"
Groomsman, Philadelphia.
The Groomsman, Philadelphia. What are we gonna do? This is too saucy. And just know, once you start saucy, you can't unbossy. And so they're in a tough spot here over at Hallmark. I don't envy them, but boy, was it saucy.
I just feel like sometimes Brand talks like this, like he owes this show something. He just is like trying, and
I owe it everything.
You with Roger Deakins over there, and the cinematography is crazy. This is bad television, and I don't have much positive to say here. Aside from young Colton's version of Waterloo, I thought was pretty good.
Waterloo.
Talented kid.
Yeah, talented kid. No doubt about it.
Let's take a break. We'll take a break. We'll come back. We'll get to the Way What and the
Sink or
Swim
Swim.
here on Deck the Hallmark.
It's important. It's an important segment.
It's too many shows.
Should we do like a chicken of the week one week, and it's just to keep it lively?
Well, hold on.
The fan theories week, we'll do that. Yeah.
Oh
say
yeah,
it.
I can't wait for fan theories.
Don't say it if you don't mean it. Let's get to the Way What. That's where we talk about what in episode made us go Way What. I'll start with you, Ryan.
Bran, I'm not one for stealing bits, so I apologize. But this Cat Alice jump at the beginning of the episode is the most egregious of the jeans pond situation.
it's
Bran,
bad.
if you have,
It's bad.
Tell them why.
They were originally it's really kind of a real kick to the groin because originally they're gonna go shopping, like they're gonna go shopping for clothes.
And you're like,
and then
great shopping sequence. You're pumped.
Yeah. But it's like they could have found some pond friendly clothing if they had actually gone
That's right.
shopping for clothes. And so then it's a very, it's spur of the moment, but also it's like they're at the house. So they're like, let's go to the pond. They could easily have changed.
Yeah.
There was a closet
Easy.
30 paces away.
30
And so it really
paces.
bothered me,
That's
Brand.
right.
It really bothered me.
Yes.
You're
right about
what else here? Colton tells Evelyn that he has a date with Delilah. And so Evelyn and Alice were watching from like a window, like 50 yards away. The window was closed. And Evelyn replies that she heard. But no, you didn't. The window was closed and you were yards away.
More than paces.
It's not. Yeah, I mean, it's not how windows work.
It's not how windows work.
It all worked out long term, but like young Colton, my guy, she said she didn't like boats. Now,
Dude,
listen,
Crazy.
First
all
of
have
all,
this one. Go ahead.
we should just respect anyone's wishes if they're telling you they're not comfortable with something.
As somebody who doesn't like boats,
Yeah.
It'd be an unfortunate situation to be placed in. When I let you know the one thing I don't like is boat, I show up to date, and the one thing the person has planned is boat.
And then insist on it.
And then like you're gonna love it. Trust me, this boat doesn't get topsy turvy. Get out of here. That's just unkind.
So it's unkind. It's really just bad first date selection, especially once you have that intel. But then, and so this doesn't technically enter my wait what for what I thought it would be originally, because he sings ABBA and Dancing Queen and all that stuff. And then so I'm like, and she mentioned that she threw up, that she yacked. And so now they're going in for the big smooch, and I'm like, well, this is absurd. She just yacked.
Yeah.
But then the show she's like, no, so with her Canadian Southern accent, she's like, no, I just puked. We can't do this. And then they do it anyway. So at least they referenced it. But I'm here to tell you that this is disgusting. And to put this on television is like irresponsible. Hallmark Plus. This is ridiculous. This wouldn't fly on premium cable. This was terrible, and I don't like it. And no testimony.
What's premium cable? What's
Like
included?
HBO,
Okay.
Showtime, Cinemax,
Hallmark,
premium cable.
premium.
You would
cable.
know that if you were down with the mise en scène.
Mise en scène,
Yeah, you're
or
right.
if you were born
You're right.
before 1990. I
Yeah.
think you would know what premium cable.
Premium
Was.
cable.
Yeah.
That was it for me, Bran. I'm really bothered.
Yeah.
You think?
Bubba.
Let me ask you this: why'd she throw up in the truck?
Well, what's wild is I initially thought that's when they found out they were pregnant with Kat, but
They got to work quick.
But
and
the thing is that I thought it was late. Like she's like, when I actually fell in love with you, and I thought it was a scene that happened years later, and they were like, but it's pretty clear that scene happens
the same day. That
That
was my understanding.
And so I just don't understand what that was about.
She could
But seriously, would you two ever kiss someone who had just thrown up?
That is a weird proposition, and I don't think that I would. I mean, I
don't
like
know. I don't know what to do with that.
getting off of
love knows no.
I think if they're like, the problem is there are some extenuating circumstances. Like if someone was dying, right? I think that there would be some extenuating circumstances there. But a romantic kiss on a boat after someone throws
They're
up
off the boat.
Heck no,
They're
absolutely
on
not.
dock.
That was disturbing.
Unsanitary.
Yeah,
They're on dock.
that's tough.
You think maybe she's already pregnant?
You think she's already pregnant?
What if she's already pregnant and it ends up Colt's not actually the dad?
That would make sense.
It's
and that
weird
would make
that-
sense that why they fell in love, because like then Alice can in theory save Colton without it causing a problem.
And that's what
with
I
the
brought up a
timeline.
couple weeks
You
ago.
did.
So that's something. That's
Yes.
interesting.
Yep.
That's something to tickle right there.
That's
I'll
a theory
tickle
to
that all day. Here we go. Do you know how you know that this opening sequence is a dream?
I know that I know that I know that I know that I know.
This kid, who is what, 8,
Yeah.
7,
Yeah.
sleeps all night
Yes.
without
Yeah.
moving, without kicking his parents, without moving, rolling around all night. If you ever slept with your
Oh my
child who
gosh.
is in that age, good luck. Good luck. That was the dead giveaway. When it faded up and it was daytime, I was like, it's got to be a dream. That's the only situation where you're that age and you don't move around and kick everybody that's around you. That's the only scenario where it works out. So I'm glad that it did end up being a dream. At one point, the guy who is trying to get the Jacob to come and join the wine and make it better, he says produce.
He says produce.
Like you work really good with the produce.
He says produce.
What was that
And
about?
He says it dead seriously.
Did that not bother
Like,
you, Ryan?
That's how everyone
Produce?
says it. It's unbelievable.
Well, it's a tomato situation,
It
right?
is not.
It is not. Produce
Oh.
isn't a thing.
But also, how many
Oh.
tomatoes have you heard being thrown about?
That is a thing that people say, and I don't think actually is real.
Yeah.
Produce that was a crazy Canadian thing. Is the
Yeah.
only thing I can figure is that it's
Ain't
Canadian.
no way.
Yeah, I don't know. When they're spying on the date and they get off the boat and then the kiss happens and Evelyn is really sad. When Alice sees the kiss, she says out loud, "Why am I even here?" Which is a crazy thing to say out loud to someone
Yeah.
who doesn't know you're a time
That's
traveler.
exactly right.
So that was a really interesting move by her, along with the clothes that she wore to jump into the water. Dan?
Yeah, I'm convinced that the main floor in the Landry house has an electricity problem because none of the overhead lights work. They're not, like, I saw one lamp on in total. Most scenes there are no lights on. What is going on in this movie where you can't turn a light switch on? You just turn the light on. Turn the light on? Like it helps
Leave
everyone.
the light on for you. Yeah.
It helps everyone if you'll just turn the light on.
Turn the light on when
yeah.
I'm home.
That's right. You get it. When young Dell gets off the boat and goes, "I told you I didn't like boats," I was losing my mind. Like, one, great. I'm glad you repeated that line for us so we could all hear it. But second of all, like, how dumb is young Colton? Like, it's like the one thing. Like, all right, so yeah, I'll go on a date with you, but I don't like boats. Great. I got a boat for you. It's going to be awesome. Like, that's actively evil. Like, that's not like in a tickle the theory way. Just in like you're an idiot. Like, you're stupid. Like, what do you
Maybe pivot to ice cream at that point.
Yeah.
You know? Yeah.
Pivot
yeah.
to literally anything.
But that's interesting. Like maybe she actually doesn't mind boats, but she's pregnant, and so any sort of movement she was concerned. They get to boat, and she's like, "Well, maybe it won't be bad."
Well, I will say this:
It's still unnecessary for him to even bring her to the one thing that she said she doesn't want to do. But
I got to be honest, and I think we're out in front of this. This episode, I've not heard all the theories. I'm pretty sure she's pregnant. And I don't even want to tickle the theory. I just think she's pregnant. I think that is the thing. And I think that's why it makes sense that Alice could save Colton, because Kat is not his biological daughter. I think we have enough evidence to suggest it strongly, not even to go, what if, right? Do you think so? Case closed. Follow that to you. So I think
Bram, be careful.
You're not flicking that wrist at all. You're just, there you go.
There we go.
That's much better. Yeah, I think we've got enough evidence to suggest strongly that is what's going on.
All rise.
Personally, maybe Elliot and Kat are gross because Elliot has just become the worst human being now, and not in like an actively villainous way, just like, oh no, my oak floors and have eggs gotten thinner way. Buddy, do I need to show up and punch you in the face? Have eggs gotten thinner? What? Who cares?
I think the worst part, like the thing that's really tough, is like he doesn't know how cool Thomas is back in 1800.
He has no idea.
If he knew, he would never talk about the eggs like that.
Yeah,
like you are looking like a little wimpy baby.
Can you imagine?
That guy got over there
is taking gunshots to the chest.
Elliot's never doinked his. He's never had a gunshot. Man, what is my deal? Well, that only happens to me. No one else has this problem. Gosh.
Elliot's never doinked in his life.
I don't know.
Yeah, you clearly said it with a lot of confidence.
I know.
But you only sleep on queens, so.
Come on. You're better than that.
Man, Follow on TV, I got a full laugh out of Rye Pappolla. It's always a good day.
Good stuff.
Yeah, I think if he knew that Thomas was taking bullets and like living off the land, he'd have kept the eggs are getting thinner to himself. I think if he knows that Kat is juxtaposing these two, and then I get it, in the heat of the moment, he picks her up and puts her on this counter, and it's supposed to be real sexy. A full gallon of milk. A full gallon spills on the 100-year-old oaks. He's going nuts earlier about nothing. I'm sorry. He doesn't change that quickly as a human being. If you're I got to clean the oaks right now person, and then a full gallon of milk dumps on the floor of your oak, like wood floors. Yeah, you just don't change overnight like that, especially when you just said eggs were getting thinner. You don't do it.
No.
You don't do it.
Closing time's playing.
Closing time's playing. It's a closing time bump.
It affects a man.
And I want to know exactly what that dude was doing to Alice's hand to make it stop itching.
I had that same question, Dan.
It's a gentle brush.
It's he's like, oh, you had a mosquito bite, your hand's itching. Let me rub it lightly. Which I don't know if you know this about mosquito bites. When you just lightly touch it, it really cools that itching right on down. It stops it almost immediately, and you have no problems.
That's right.
Those are my way ones.
It's time for Sink or Swim. It's where we talk about things that are sinking or things that are swimming, et cetera, et cetera. Ryan?
Yeah, I get it. I'm swimming. I'm gonna be positive here. And this might ruin the show for our old buddy Dan, but no.
No.
Yeah.
This is gonna do it.
Well, he's so high on it otherwise.
That's right.
But I really do believe that if Ghost Colton, and I know there's the big problem with can't travel past his death. Colton is still always on the table, but that's not what I'm here to talk about. But if Ghost Colton is actually villain Colton and just pretending to be a ghost and doing what Del believes to be these ghost to present day conversations, but it's actually villain Colton just time traveling, being nefarious and teleporting in and out. Might not make a lot of sense, but I'm here to tell you that would be really cool.
I got to be honest. I think they pretty much put the kibosh on that this episode.
Dan, can you just for once?
What do you do? You don't. The scenes where he's in, someone else walks in the room. Like Jacob walks in the room while he's talking, and then he just disappears. I'm
what
pretty
you don't
sure
know
they've
is
established.
there's going to be an episode where the masked magician comes out, and he's like, "How do we do it?" And they're going to roll it all out. It's going to be very cool.
It's going to be awesome. That's the best TV shows. Just explain it later.
Well, if the masked magician's involved,
I don't think there's any way that that's possible, Rye Guy. But I love it. I love villain Colton. But you and I both know that's not happening, and also I don't think it's possible based upon what we've gotten so far.
It would just be cool.
That's it.
That's
it. Would be cool.
We're just going for cool.
We're just going for cool. You guys, you don't have to like the show. Like you cannot like it. You can do it. You're not betraying anyone if you just go, it's not good anymore. It's fine.
I was very critical. Just ask TV Scotty.
That's right.
That's right. That's what he said. He said you're good at it. That's what he said. You know what? I'm gonna sink it.
Yeah, you are.
I'm gonna sink it.
Really?
I'm just gonna sink There's a couple of things I want to sync. I want to sync
Multiple syncs?
Yeah.
I want to sync Jacob if possible. Let's get him back and
Into
let's
the
try it
river.
again. Let's see if it
Jump in the pond, see
see
what
if it
happens.
holds this time. I don't like it, and it to me it's dragging the show down every time that's
It's sinking it.
happening. It's dragging the show down, and so I would like for him to go back to the 1800s and never return personally. So I'm gonna sync it. I'm gonna sync that, and I'm also gonna sync the character of Evelyn. I don't know what about it, but it's just not that part. Is it
70s Evelyn?
70s Evelyn, and it's not that I don't
Wow.
like. The,
I want to spin her off.
All right, whatever, man.
All right, what you do on your own time is neither here
neither
nor
here
there.
nor
there. Oh, I
You
think-
tickle
I
that
think-
theory on your own.
That's right.
I think that's
but
being
seven,
taken out of context.
I like 70s
The
Evelyn.
one thing we know is Elliot's never doinked anyone.
Yeah, I like 70s Evelyn. I don't like being like gaslit into like caring
you're
about
right.
Evelyn.
You're 100%
I feel like
right.
I'm being forced to
Yes.
care about a character that I didn't
It's
know I was
really well
supposed to
said.
care about.
Yep, yep.
And so that's what I'm thinking. I wish it would have just been somebody else that we hadn't met. That's it.
Yeah. I'm syncing because not only are we going back to the 1800s, but we're slow playing it with flashbacks, and you know that's just not going to stop, right? Like that
Could stop.
the flashback isn't going to be enough.
No,
We're
this
gonna-
was it. One and done.
We're going to
It's
keep
a one
getting
and
more
done.
of these. It's going to be a whole part of the show, and that is unfortunate. So syncing. It's a triple sync, everybody. Triple sync.
Triple
Reason
sync.
for optimism, everybody.
way around, yeah.
Here we go.
When's that fan theory episode coming out?
It's coming. Well, we'll see if we have an off week. We'll see.
Yeah.
We did, everybody. Congratulations to us. Great. You know who I think Girls Gone Hallmark already did a fan theory website like a week ago.
Website?
So,
Yeah.
episode,
So they have a
episode.
whole web
So,
page dedicated.
I
They
do.
might. They
Doesn't
have an
surprise
episode
me.
came out like a week ago, so go check that out. They cover all the theories. We did, everybody. Congratulations to us. We're gonna be back next time with another one. So come on back, will you? Until then, maybe the first to wish you a Merry Christmas.
Deck the Hallmark's a Bramble Jam podcast is produced by Aaron Shea. For more information on Deck the Hallmark, you can go to deckthehallmark.com. For more information on the Deck the Hallmark family, you can go to bramblejamplus.com. Deck the Hallmark is presented by Philo TV. For a free trial of Philo, go to philo.tv/DTH.